Hey Rebel Rousers, welcome back to Rebellion Reborn, which of course is a segment of the Primatech Files, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things related to the Heroes universe, created by the lovely Tim Kring. I am Lilith, and joining me as always is...
It's me, Ricky.
Up for discussion today is part 2 of the DVD/Blu-ray breakdown. We'll be talking about the bonus material, Dark Matters, and Heroes Reborn Living the Legacy.
Oh, did they even put any of the... They didn't even put any of the YouTube stuff on there, did they? No, I'm not talking about Inside the Eclipse. I'm talking about, like, those little, those YouTube... You can go to HeroTruther for that. Anyway, Reliving the Legacy. When I heard that they were doing a featurette for Heroes Reborn, I was really looking forward to it. I thought, it's going to be a good old long thing. And yeah, it was, 10 minutes?
10 minutes. When you were like, have you watched the feature? And I was like, no. He's like, how long is it? I was like, I have no clue. And then you told me it was 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, good.
Yeah.
I had just watched it, like, right now.
Because it was one of those ones as well. Like, I got up this morning a little bit early and I was like, you know what? I'll watch it. So I started watching it and I was like, maybe I'll take notes. I was like, no, just give it a watch first and see how you like it. And then I realised I'd seen a lot of these interviews already from, like, I think it was like Flicks in the City or something like that, a YouTube page where they had all these little mini interviews, like, around about the time of Comic-Con. Yeah. And that's essentially what happened. And I was like, I was just waiting for it to get into, like, a bit more juicier stuff. And then it was like 10 minutes done. And I was like...
Full credits.
Yeah. I was like, I guess I'll wait for Lilith to wake up and then tell her I'll need a couple of, like... give me like half an hour so I can watch it again and make notes. So yeah. Anyway, Reliving the Legacy. So I think it's kind of broken down into sections. So it starts off with like talking about heroes coming back. Then it talks about new characters. Then it talks about old characters, and then it has a wrap up, and that's it. So yeah, we'll start off with the new quotes of, memories are a funny thing kind of dialogue. And we start off with...
Wait, can we just pause? I still just want to reiterate how upset I was that it was basically a glorified Cadillac commercial. That was such a good monologue, and then they just had to ruin it with the Cadillac, basically, in-show commercial.
But did they not make it better with this little thing? This little look back at the season?
They did.
Yeah, exactly. It starts off with the first week of production, and they're filming the Evo meeting. And then let's talk about how Heroes Reborn is a different show from Heroes. It's more jacked up. And I think Greg Grunberg describes it best where he calls it Heroes on steroids. Tim calls it a complete reboot with the idea that the original existed. And Tim kind of explains the story between Heroes and Heroes Reborn, with Claire and HRG having an argument because of her out in Evos, and HRG ultimately being right, that she shouldn't do it. So yeah. Shows us the summit explosion, how, no one knows what went wrong, but they just know that loads of people died, and it starts this kind of xenophobia throughout the world. And we're straight up thrown into this polarized world where, Evos are hunted, exploited, persecuted, driven underground, and, just keeping their abilities out of sight. They show the epic system, and they talk about civil rights, human rights. And we see Francis in white at one point. Did we ever see Francis after he got, like, knocked off? Like, did we? I don't think we did we?
No, it was, like, in a preview or something, but then we never got shown that scene or whatever.
And that little bit finishes off with Jack Coleman saying, it's not our world, but it could very well be. So, yeah. They talk about how they always dealt with issues which were very much threats to the world in Heroes, while showing the Healy of Heroes Reborn, which I think kind of says it all. And in our interview with Tim, he was talking about how, the environment was basically the new kind of evil in this series, and how peoples from around the world come together to try and save it. But it gives us a breakdown on the new characters such as Tommy. He's on the run trying to settle down. He's just an American high school guy, and they think that makes him relatable, but, it gives him the edge of having a power. Zachary Levi, I was about to say Quinto, talks about playing a dark character, being on a twisted journey. He loved having the challenge, and he found it rare to find a character that goes from bad to good. He's obviously not watching Once Upon a Time or the original Heroes where Zachary Quinto did that. But anyway, they talk about a character in East LA who has to step up and take responsibility, and they say it's the closest thing to putting on a superhero suit. It's actually the first character to put on a superhero suit. They talk about the costume being driven by ethnicity and pride, the whole belt and luchador mask. Jack Coleman talks about Miko being the most fascinating characters on TV. Kiki talks about doing 5 years of sword fighting and her first jump into the motion capture realm, and she really liked it because, you know, she got to watch it animated back pretty much straight away. And then they go into the old characters and how HRG is the central character, the spine of the story. And he brings up, you know, that in the original HRG was always the man with the plan, and here he's kind of on the back foot and he's learning and planning at the same time. Talks about putting on the glasses for the first time and being savagely attacked for the first time, saying it's dangerous to be HRG. Yes, especially near the end. We get Masayoka talking about playing three heroes: the classic hero, future ninja hero. He calls him a ninja because he's got two swords as opposed to one, and how he felt like a benihana chef, which I'm assuming is just one of those people who cook food in front of you, right?
Yeah, they chop it up really quick. You guys don't have benihana over there?
No, we don't. They make a smoking volcano, right? Out of onions.
There you go.
Cool. And Old Man Hero, and he talks about how he had to differentiate them all from, like, the way they talk to the posture. I thought he did a quite good job portraying...
I love Old Man Hero. It's like Old Man Logan.
Yeah, definitely. And I even like just like little classic Hero, and I thought they were very different, all of them. But yeah, I really liked it. Christine Rose talks about how her and Mohinder never had a scene together. Did they? Because for some reason I think they did. Like, I know that Micah and the Haitian never had a scene together, and here they are working together in Heroes Reborn, and they still haven't had a scene together. But for some reason...
I thought she called Mohinder out on his crap when they were out in the desert.
Yeah, and there was that whole thing in season 2 where he comes to her, he's working for her, right? Oh, Christine.
No. I trust Christine Rose's memory better than mine about that.
Okay. When I go back and start rewatching some of these, I'll bring it up if it's right. But
I swear when they were in the desert that they did, though.
Maybe she's talking about like a scene just the two of them.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go with that because, you know, I don't want her to be wrong. Anyway, Sunil talks about how Suresh is an extension of where we left off, and he's gone back to what he started, a scientist trying to help people. What do you think he meant by that? Like, an extension of where we as an audience left off, like, you know, we watched Heroes.
Well, that's why he disappeared. He went back to his lady friends, work on the research, and after Hero saved him and stuff, that's what he went to go do. And that's also where the journey started for him,
yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, I suppose. Then we get Grunny talking about a dark apartment and talking about how the same way his father got roped in, Parkman himself was tempted to use his powers to help evil people, but he always had the justification of protecting his family.
Maury was just a douchebag.
Yeah, and then we come to the end where Tim talks about Heroes originally coming out at a time when the country was looking for heroes, and a kind of postmodern idea of heroes just being the person next to you, like it could be you or it could be your neighbor or the high school, someone from your high school. Zachary Levi brings it out by saying, you know, a human story is that kind of international, you know, finding hope and answers to how complex life is. And then he finishes it with saying, plus it's a cool succinct story which he can get down with. So yeah,
I wouldn't say succinct,
yeah,
but definitely a cool story.
We got little, like, during the whole kind of Reliving the Legacy, we had loads of people talking. It was mainly Zachary Levi, Jack Coleman, and Tim Kring, but we also got, you know, Greg Grunberg, Guzman, Robbie Kay, Massey, Sunil, Christine, Kiki, and Henry Zabrowski. So yeah, what did you think of Reliving the 10-Minute Legacy?
I'm bummed that it was so short and that it was something that, you know, we as original Heroes fans already had found for the most part, because we scoured the internet.
Yeah.
So that's the only disappointing thing about it. But I think for people who were just kind of like casual and weren't as diehard, I think this is like pretty cool for them.
But I also think
it should have been longer.
Definitely. But also it feels like, you know, it's continuing it's reliving the legacy, and they give you 10 minutes on everything, like, just to kind of show you what's like that difference between the time. It doesn't tell you anything that happened during the course of Heroes Reborn. It just tells you everything kind of leading up to it, and it's basically something they could have shown as a special 10 minutes before Heroes Reborn first came out, just to give you a refresher course, because it gave away like no spoilers, nothing like that, apart from, like, you know, the pictures. But, you know,
I think this was an afterthought, honestly. Like, I know it was announced, like, way back when, but I think that they just couldn't find the right vibe, so they're like, all right, what else do we have? But also, I think the Legacy, they meant kind of prior to, do you know what I mean? Not necessarily Heroes Reborn, but Heroes itself.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Is the Legacy.
Do you think we'll have Reliving the Legacy's legacy in the next Heroes DVD, where they just go over how badly they screwed up this Reliving the Legacy?
Nah.
So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, unfortunately. And they also have Dark Matter, so if you didn't like want to go to YouTube or something, there it is on a little DVD or Blu-ray where you can click through with your remote.
Check out award-winning Dark Matters. It is one of the best things of Heroes Reborn, and it's just like you have to have watched it if you're listening to this, but yeah, you have to. It gives so much background to Phoebe as well, and it makes watching Heroes Reborn that much more difficult when you see what happens to Phoebe. So yeah.
Yeah, we were rooting for you, girl.
Yeah, damn, we were. Anyway, and that's basically it. We've still got a couple of issues left of Heroes Godsend to do, and yeah, I guess.
Well, when the UK ever gets on the US shipping schedule, let me know.
No, we're there. Like, we're still waiting. I just didn't get the issue this week. I'll get it next week. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, are you gonna tell them the plans that we have? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's up to you guys what you want us to hear us do next, because obviously we can do whatever. I've got a couple of people that I've been speaking to about doing commentaries for episodes, whether they be people who haven't watched the episodes or people who haven't watched the originals, or even some celebrity kind of people who might be able to do a commentary here and there if they have time. But yeah, we were thinking about not moving away from the Heroes kind of brand, because obviously that's what we're doing. But I also think that there was a TV show that came out called Alphas, which was really good, and I think it was kind of Heroes-esque. We're thinking about doing that. Keep a lookout on for it, and you've been warned. You've got time to find Alphas season 1 and season 2 wherever you can, and so you might be able to join us for a live tweet. Might be able to give us some feedback, all that kind of good stuff. And maybe I was thinking maybe Powers as well. What, have you even watched this Powers show?
No, because it's Marvel. I mean, no, I have watched it, but the comic book was better.
Okay, fair enough. I was thinking of...
But no, if you like it...
No, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it. I was thinking of like just doing shows which aren't... like superhero shows which aren't...
But they're like under the radar. Yeah, if that's your goal, then yeah, Powers is a good one because it's very under the radar.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see. Me and Lilith will have a discussion off there.
But we also want to do the things with the actors from Heroes and other things too.
Yes.
You can send us episodes for that.
Lilith is looking forward to that so much. She's got so many ideas. So yeah, if you've got any characters from the original Heroes or the new Heroes, and you want us to do like we're gonna watch an episode of one thing that they were in other than Heroes, then we will do that. Lilith, give them your Jack Coleman that you want to do.
Okay, no, we're gonna do a whole bunch of Jack Coleman because a lot of stuff. No, we're definitely gonna do Castle, rest in pieces, and we're definitely gonna do one of the episodes that was in Vampire Diaries just to even it out for the audience.
Yeah, and some of these shows I won't have even watched, like the Vampire Diaries. I have not.
We're doing Pretty Little Liars for Guzman though. We are doing that. It's happening.
And you never know, there might be an episode of Gilmore in there somewhere.
Oh, definitely. The new one too now.
Yes. Also, if you haven't had the chance, there is a Milo interview out there for a podcast called Gilmore Guys, and it doesn't talk a lot about Heroes, but it talks about maybe about 5 minutes towards the end. It's quite like he comes across really well in it when he's talking about Gilmore Girls, but he basically says, that he felt. Well, I'll let you listen to it, and we'll talk about it in the next episode. So yeah, Gilmore Guys.
Awesome.
Cool.
So we're not going to let this feed go dead is what we're saying, guys. So send us an email.
At least once a week we'll have something, hopefully.
So yeah, feel free to get in touch with us. We're Primatech Files every single place. So we look forward to seeing you guys. And until next time.
Keep the rebellion alive.